Welcome in. Just a short message. Something before we all go to bed, kind of have it be swimming around in our unconscious, you could say. You really do have to die to awaken your highest self. King Sarcophagus, the highest self card. You really do have to put a part of you in the tomb for you to awaken. And you really did have to evolve with red eyes, that kind of energy, that kind of, you could say tapping into that self. Tapping into both, you know, you could say the red and the blue within you, the power sources, the angel and the demon. And of course, Star Source Dragon, Source itself, Spirit itself. That's the beautiful thing. And, Spirit being luck, you being on this very lucky path of fusing those two together. This very lucky path where everything was able to awaken within you. And of course, in a world, I'm almost like you're like in a world before time. It's like, in a world you could say before the light has awakened, it was bitter work being that soul. It was bitter work being that like awakened self. But of course, you being someone that really has been the beautiful, like forbidden chalice drinker of the planet that has, helped everything rise in frequency. That's who you are, someone that has really helped the process, the vibration. Someone that has made it all happen. Through faith, through belief. Even your faith alone, even your belief alone. And of course, you've always been a light to, you could say, reach out a hand to the serpents, reach out a hand to darkness. So keep reaching out a hand, I'm feeling. Keep weaving those webs as the vessel. You're in a partnership with the light. You're in a partnership with your highest self. Both meant for virtue, the self of you before all of this happened, before you became someone ready for all of this. But now, you could say the virtue being something that has evolved from you. The worlds, you could say, happening, the worlds becoming. And of course, you've been that light that only comes once in a millennium, to speak the truth, to fight for what's right, and you did, like with pure faith, with a pure heart, with pure belief. And again, it's always been a lucky path. It's always been a very lucky, like the world is so lucky that you're here. And of course, you only coming like once in every 1,000 years, every millennium, to evolve everything, to help everyone, like have that rebellious spirit again, to evolve against the right things, to rebel against the right things, to evolve in the right ways, that kind of thing. So like you could say, still have that flame, still have that fighting spirit, but more be like a reality hacker, more be like, someone that just changes things passively, psychically. That's what you do. You process the divine psychically, and of course that's what is awakening everything here. And you kind of realizing that joy is like the best option. Like joy is pure, joy is source. Of course, you understand like the highest power. You understand love is the law. You understand, how do I say it? The real awakening is from joy. The real awakening is being happy again, being filled with light. Your vessel feeling light because of how happy the emotions, the heaviness have left you. And you could imagine, you could say like your aura bubbling. I watch it, you could say on screen from, what is it called? My status as an assassin obviously exceeds the hero's. Another like story you could say of, the shadow that has light within it, meaning someone that is pure light itself. And of course, you being someone that you could say is such a beautiful avatar. You being someone that is such a beautiful being that can, you could say, really understands what it means to be on the avatar journey. Really what it means, to understand and process the divine. And of course, you've had a process of making a promise right, making right on a promise with spirit, making right on a promise with God. That's what I'm feeling for someone, someone you could say like making a promise to God and you're not supposed to, but you did. Charmers of the Grand Circle. Put this back in the casing. There we go. Your soul, your flame, has been reborn here. There's nothing you can't do. There's nothing you won't do to help everyone kind of be happy again. And of course, you were reborn through magic. You're reborn through that light that has been something that has been able to awaken almost only in you. And the process of you has been definitely a fight for you to awaken. So good job. And of course, you don't have to put those swords down, just keep them at your side. You wield the light. You wield, again, you could say the energy of God, the spirit of God, that kind of thing. You're a wielder. And of course, you're creating heaven here. For everything that you've fought for, everything you've stood for, everything even you've been about, that kind of sense. Look at that. Shadow side and duelist. You understand. Everything that you've been about, everything that you've been, even if you had to, you could say, not just stand on business, you could say, stand on a hill and fight everything around you, that kind of thing. Those classic, movie outros, where it's, that last fight, and it seems like endless waves, and they just keep fighting as, the credits roll, that kind of thing. Where it's, again, you have those moments where it's, I just gotta keep fighting. And, of course, look at that. It's a ritual. Mitsurugi ritual. Hades Mom. Can't really see the silver text here very well. Soul card in Book of Moon to end out the message. It really is, you could say, a ritual of, getting rid of hell within you to make more room for heaven. And it's once heaven makes a home within you, it's you're not going to lose that light. Of course, there may be times where it's you feel a little distant because of certain things, whatever it is. Whether it's, work or things that you could say almost 99% of the time that you perceive as mistakes, the unworthiness imposter syndrome. When again, it's you've had those literal moments of awakening to being God here. It's don't underplay that. Don't let that be a down statement. And I'm wondering if I did forget what I was saying about my status as an assassin, obviously exceeds the heroes. Definitely keep your blue light glasses on, but it's just wearing these for comfortability only, not style, for sure. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every like and comment. I will be here for the highs and lows of humanity. I will be here for the hour-long messages and the 9-minute long messages. Thank you guys so much for being here. Have a beautiful, beautiful night.